The British Empire and the 13 colonies have returned. They're out here about to do battle all over again. Head over to makeship.com to choose which side you're supporting in the war. Right now, currently, the US is outselling the British Empire, but it's close. Of course, the Brits were not gonna make this easy. They're not trying to lose to us again, which, to be honest, is understandable. But let's see what would have happened if they never took that L. If the US didn't win the American Revolution, basically. Or maybe we did win the American Revolution, but after World War II, we decided just to go back. I don't really know. There's plenty of ways we could try to justify this somehow. Now, you'll notice the British didn't necessarily get back all their former colonies like Canada, Australia, New Zealand. It is just the USA specifically because we don't want to make them too overpowered, although they definitely will be here. Statistically speaking, the UK is now the third largest nation on Earth, still very far behind Russia. But the thing about the World War Simulator is having these different enclaves in different continents makes you really powerful. You pretty much have way more weak neighbors to be able to attack. Thing is, though, they're probably going to want to connect these two empires, and the only way the British are going to be able to do that is to jump through Iceland, Greenland, and Canada. Specifically, maybe just Canada. If they can move across the Atlantic through this crossing, then, well, they don't have Gibraltar in this world, but they normally do in real life. This is going to be really interesting because I don't know if this is enough to, wow, the Congo immediately just died. I don't know if this is really going to be enough to make the British win. I mean, they aren't overpowerful here, or overwhelmingly powerful, I should say. And the thing is, London is still very close to a lot of aggressive European neighbors. One of these people could definitely eat that, and then they'll have to transfer their capital into Washington. Maybe this is just going to be a game where like the British become the Americans. Does that make any sense? Holy crap, Argentina also instantly died. We got a much bigger Uruguay and Chile, plus another African power. Actually, we're losing a lot of African nations. Not much movement on the European front though. Look at the UAE actually crossed the Persian Gulf here. They made it into Iran, but now they're getting pushed back. Actually, they're probably going to get killed here. We also have a war between Syria and Iraq. The British are at war. They are at war briefly. They grabbed a couple of sea tiles away from Norway, but nothing in terms of land. That's right. And then Denmark has this island over here, the Faroe Islands. They're trying to take back Iceland, trying to maybe start a Viking empire. And then the Canadians and Portuguese are getting into it. There goes India. Actually, that is not India. This is a war between Myanmar and Bangladesh, and they're fighting over like 3 tiles. So far, the UK does not have any new friends. Well, I don't even know if this is the UK. Can they call themselves the British Empire again? But yeah, they have no alliances just yet, but that will probably change soon, especially considering a bunch of allies have popped up in this continent. We've got Spain. Oh, that's interesting. The UK just joined an alliance with Belgium, France, and Ireland. That pulls in obviously all this territory as well. That is definitely a team I never thought would form. That definitely keeps them also a lot more safe back in Europe though. They just kind of need to worry about the Netherlands because the Netherlands can cross the English Channel. There's actually a war happening between Germany and the Dutch right now as we speak though. Finland has been destroyed, and actually Estonia grabbed that Helsinki capital. Boom, and now wow, so never mind. Germany just died. The Netherlands took all that over, so that's a bigger threat the UK is gonna have to worry about. Oh, and it's the UK that might be taking over Iceland. This is Danish-controlled Iceland, I should say. They are both battling. They're literally battling on the giant volcano over here. That's got to be epic, like Revenge of the Sith status. A little bit of changes in Southeast Asia. Well, first of all, China getting into a really big war against Mongolia and North Korea at the same time, and it's Bangladesh that ended up taking out Myanmar. We also have Cambodia unifying a lot of Southeast Asia, and they're still going. They're going after Malaysia, I believe. Oh no, this is Malaysia and Vietnam. That was a mouthful. Australia, also a former colony of the British. They're trying to not make their daddy too upset, not disappoint him too much, although the British have their hands full. They did grab Iceland though, and I believe they puppeted Denmark at the same time. So now Denmark is feeding them gold. This is really interesting. This is a very good start. I was most worried about the British with their placement in Europe. I thought they'd get kicked out, but maybe that won't happen. We have Mexico moving in after Cuba. I don't know if the British have much interest in expanding their territory in North America just yet. I think they just want to expand out here in Europe. Of course, we got a war between Greece and Turkey, and Greece has been taken out. Puerto Rico, a former colony of the US, is now independent, obviously, as they usually are in this game. They did take out the Dominican Republic with the help of Haiti. And look at Chile go as they've pushed Uruguay way back. Uruguay is about to get eaten. Another dead nation inside of Europe. And in terms of Balkan nations, it's just Slovenia, Bosnia. There's no Serbia. There's a big war between Russia and Romania and Ukraine, I should say. Weird alliance that they have here. UK is still firmly in that 3rd place spot, just behind Canada. And the British have successfully integrated the Danish. So the UK are doing pretty good back in their home continent, I should say. Grabbing the Danish peninsula as well as Iceland. But man, I really want to see them make more movement towards North America. Didn't even realize that Portugal actually has a foothold here in Newfoundland. So maybe it's the Portuguese that are going to slowly grind away at Canada. Actually, look at Greenland go. They took away these islands up here. And now the UK is finally at war. They're trying to extend their territory against Mexico. So this is a British-Mexican war. Oh boy, they're getting wombo combo. This could be really dangerous for the British Empire. They pieced out with the North, but they're still at war with Mexico. Actually, Chile at the same time. Oh wow, look at this. Because of the Falkland Islands, I completely forgot about this territory they had. Though their big rival Argentina is no longer longer around, but the new de facto Argentina, Chile is the new possible rival. British are winning their war slowly against the Mexicans. They're taking away a lot of the northern Mexican states, actually slowly moving down the Baja Peninsula even. They're getting dangerously... Oh, they puppeted for them. Okay, so this could be even more territory the British could slowly eat up. As long as they don't lose... Oh, that's right. They're also allied... Well, this is French-controlled... what is this called again? Yeah, whatever. Because they're still allied to the French, and now the French are going in after the Italians. With that big old Poland up here that's formed. And then Portugal and Canada again going to war with each other. So this is kind of a de facto ally for the UK, even though they aren't officially allied. The Mexicans sending back a lot of gold back to Europe because of this puppet. And then there goes Cuba, which means that the British are going to pick up a lot of this, including the Bahamas. So they're getting back some old Caribbean islands that the British Empire used to have. Holy crap, a massive death in Australia, and it looks like New Zealand's going to pick up a lot of this, but also Papua New Guinea, who's doing pretty well. Indonesia does not look as powerful as they normally do at the start. It was India that took out Cambodia and a lot of Southeast Asia. Vietnam still exists, so Taiwan controls the Philippines. Mexico has revolted away from the British, but I don't know if this is going to be... I don't know if they're going to be able to gain their independence. There's another puppet that's been going on, so Colombia is underneath the Brazil... Wow, look at how powerful Brazil is. Mexico, they did get their independence, but they're now fighting a war for Guatemala. Oh crap, and now Canada has puppeted Portugal. This definitely puts the pressure now on the Europeans because the Canadians are going to start to make their way over here. The country that wins out in North America is a pretty big... I mean, the amount of times the US or Canada has won a World War simulator is kind of crazy, so this is a big war to see who lasts. Now, there are all these straight borders that are formed between Chile, Bolivia, Brazil. The Falklands do still exist under British control. We've got a giant Mozambique that is beginning to form in the southern part of Africa. So look at Malaysia go as they're fighting like a 3-front or 4-front war. I don't even know. India versus the Chinese. That was inevitable. Now we have the Italians moving in after southern France. Oh man, look at the Swiss go too. So these are friends. That's a major ally to the British. Oh, they did peace out though. Holy crap. So because of the fall of the Netherlands, the British now got a bunch of northern Germany. That unfortunately might kind of make things harder for them to control. That's a lot of territory. Oh, and now they're back at war with the Canadians. The Canadians have taken actually Michigan, the lower peninsula. They're losing northern parts here. Now the Canadians don't have that big of an economy. The British have a little bit more to work with. Oh man, they're fighting so many. See, this could be where the problem begins. The British have so many fronts to take care of. Oh yeah, the US is not looking that great anymore. And here goes Turkey, kind of looking like Ottoman Empire somewhat. Oh, and that is actually beginning to collapse. Maybe I spoke a little bit too soon. Bulgaria is trying to get their independence, I believe. Or no, Bulgaria is actually underneath the Italian Empire. Wow, the Italians have kind of formed a de facto Roman Empire with all these alliances. We also have the French and Spanish back at war. There was a brief war between the British and Greenland, and actually the British got kicked off of parts of Iceland. Still, UK in third, then Canada, then Russia. Not much movement at all. I think Brazil has kind of moved up a little bit, and then also Greenland's pretty high. Massive war for Cuba that's taking place between the British and the Mexicans. We also have a unified Caribbean under just Puerto Rico, and actually Puerto Rico is fighting the British. Holy moly, that's not good. Washington, D.C. might get sieged out by the Canadians. It is extremely close. They're also losing their foothold slightly in Alaska. Okay, well, the British are beginning to push back. The British Americans, I guess I should refer to them as British Americans. They're starting to win the front. Okay, now they're starting to, the tides are turning as they get closer and closer to Ottawa here. Oh, they are dangerously close to, oh, they pieced out right at the perfect time. They are 1 pixel away from taking that capital. British still have their allies in Ireland, France. Also, Switzerland has joined in. They've not taken out Sweden just yet, though. They're the final Nordic member remaining, unless Estonia kind of into Nordic now. China now fighting off the Taiwanese. The Taiwanese actually took back a little bit of mainland China back. We have Malaysia and the Indians going at it. Definitely going to be an interesting battle that takes place in Oceania because I don't know who's the strongest power here anymore. Chile has just become a puppet state of the British somehow. I don't even know how that was possible. So this could extend another foothold in the Americas for the British Empire. It would definitely help the British to take out Mexico, but they've been having trouble to get down there. Now the British have taken out Sweden, so they're getting a bunch of new Norwegian and Swedish territory, but they're still at war with Greenland, so I believe those two had an alliance. They eliminated... Oh my goodness, the British took out the Canadians. Okay, everything is about to change now. So the Portuguese are going to grab a little bit of this, and then of course Greenland's going to grab these islands up here, but the vast majority are going to go to the British Americans or the British American Canadians. I don't know what you want to describe them as. This is huge for the British Empire, so let's see what happens now. They also have way more friends too. Problem are the 3 big powers in the East, Russia, China, and India. They still exist and they're still very powerful, which actually might be a good thing that the powers are divided. You don't want just 2 powers to be up here. You want them to all be fighting each other. Luckily, London is still pretty safe. They do need to try to take out Greenland at some point though. Oh boy, Greenland getting a big push. Oh, but the Portuguese are going to help a little bit. Oh, and they're fighting Mexico down here too. Mexico is actually a puppet underneath the British Empire, but they're trying to fight for their freedom. Chile is still also under the British. Is this Uruguay? Yes, it is. So slowly they're, oh my goodness, they're beginning to annex Chile Chile right in front of us. That's actually crazy. I like this annexation. It's so weird, probably very unrealistic, but you know, British like to draw a straight line sometimes, just like the Americans do with their states. Here we go, the Italians as they move in after, I believe this is Switzerland. So the Italians are really the major enemy the British have to take care of inside. Oh, the French, I don't know what happened to the French. The French are under the Brazilians somehow, maybe from French Guiana. I'm not sure. The Brazilians are going to become more and more of a headache for the British Empire. That's going to become pretty bad soon. Ooh, the Chinese puppeted India and they got a lot of territory. They've also puppeted the Japanese. Brazilians successfully annexed back continental Europe, northern French lands. And here it goes. This is going to be a big problem. Brazil, they actually might take London, but they did take London. Will the British get it back? They did get it back. I don't know where did they transfer their capital to? Yeah, it's now permanently just going to be Washington, D.C. at this point. That's going to keep them safe for now, but it really depends on how big this Brazilian power grows. So they did fully annex Chile. Brazil's a problem because they're allied to Peru and Bolivia, who are really big too. Will they finally take out Mexico? Oh, the Portuguese have just been eliminated, which is actually going to maybe help the British. I'm not sure. The Italians have finally been defeated, so it's actually just the Brazilians that are kind of a threat out this way. The Russians trying to extend their territory in Eastern Europe. They're having a difficult time, but I think I might have spoke a little bit too soon. They did grab the Romanian capital, pieced out luckily. Here goes Nepal's. They try to fight for their freedom, try to get some sort of sea tiles. I'm sure they want some sort of way to connect to the outside world. Whoa, they actually took out India right there. That is very impressive. And little update, the UK are closing in on Russia as the biggest empire on Earth. They just somehow take over Greenland and they will for sure cement their place as the biggest empire. There goes Romania finally. So there's only a couple powers left in continental Europe. It's the British, the Russians, while they're allied to so many Swiss, the Bulgarians. Look at big old Iraq. There goes Nepal. China's gonna become a bigger and bigger threat over this way. Bolivia, I think, has peacefully annexed Peru. And there's only a couple powers left in Central Asia or Central America. It's just Nicaragua and then the British and Mexicans. Ooh, Russia really pushed. This is gonna be like 1984. I can tell you that right. Actually, for reals. Well, if the Brazilians kick them out, it won't be that much, but we clearly are gonna have a war between the Russians, the Chinese, and the British. There's only 37 nations left, and we're gonna lose a lot of them very quickly. I can already tell. Oh, I think the Brazilians might have just been officially kicked out. Problem is that Brazil has now also annexed Belgium, so they might make a comeback to this continent. That's the only way they're gonna be able to make it, actually. Let's see. So they just went to war with literally everybody. London, they keep taking London. How is Belgium doing this? This is insane, Belgium. And what happened here? We have Mauritania that has puppeted Spain. Or no, this is Switzerland. Is this the British too? Yes, I believe the British have a foothold in Africa now. Afghanistan looking pretty strong. They're also allied to Russia, so these two are going to keep. Oh man, so that would be a big problem if one of these two powers take over completely. Oh, the British just got Greenland. Wow, okay, so things are heating up. This is huge. This is a very big British empire. The problem is, again, these wars in continental Europe, they're big and they're scary for them. The Russians are extremely close to taking over that entire continent. Wow. But then the Chinese are causing the Russians a lot of issues back in the east. I don't even really know. Okay, so the Congo are getting massive. British are really big too, though. Who is that? Is that the Brazilians? Yes, that is the Brazilians. So my theory did come true. Actually, a lot of things have changed because China took so much power away from Russia. But yeah, the UK is the #1 nation in terms of land. Ooh, the UK have just been taken out by Belgium of all people. Again, the British exist in Washington, D.C. alone. It'd be a big collapse for, oh, they've been puppeted. Uh-oh. Yeah, if Russia takes out Turkey, that's a major, that was a big thorn in their side, but that might not exist any longer. Sure would be crazy to see someone like the Congo win here. They are getting very big and they've got a lot of friends. Oh, the British are deep in the Amazon rainforest now. They still haven't taken out Mexico yet, though. They're also extending slightly inside of Africa. Might be the Chinese that ultimately take out the Russians because, yeah, these two, Belgium and the Russians, are allied. And China has, oh boy, that is going to be a major problem. China is now firmly #1 in terms of largest empire. Congo's in third, though, funny enough. Now, Belgium is not allied to China. Actually, Belgium has some really bad enemies. Like, they're surrounded by, okay, this is not good for Belgium. It's either between the British and the Chinese, but there's some wild cards in there like the Congo and Brazilians. Brazilians just fully annexed Mexico. Look at Mali go. Wow, how did Mali change their capital? Yeah, something weird's been going on there. They are a puppet to China, though. Oh, they might have finally eliminated the Belgians are done. Belgians are finally done, and there's a big old war in Africa now happening. Again, size is not, I know I'm focusing a lot on size here of these empires, but it doesn't mean everything. Obviously, the economies, we've seen so many small nations win at the last second because they just had a better economy at the final years of the game. Congo's got a lot of money. They did just become puppeted with, they puppeted by the Chinese, though. There's 8 nations left. Can't believe Oceania has been so divided. Papua New Guinea and New Zealand. I guess it's because they're friends. Oh, and they're also allied to the Chinese. So they're pretty much just two sides here. We've got The green, funny enough, it's the Brazilians that are leading this alliance versus, I think this is New Zealand leading this alliance of the Chinese, but it's pretty, oh, but something's breaking apart now. I think the Brazilians just became a puppet to the Chinese. Yeah, the Chinese have all these puppets. This is crazy. The Chinese people, they're really just controlling all aspects of the world right now. The British are trying to fight back. Holy crap. The Chinese, did you just annex the British? How the hell did they do that? It's literally, okay, I did not expect this to go in this way. Everyone's a puppet of China. Everyone's gonna have to either break up or they're gonna have to gain their freedom. It's the Congo, Mali, and Brazil. They're the final 3 members that have the only chance. The issue, oh, they're starting to get annexed right now too. Here's the world war to see who's gonna win this. Who will win out? Everyone's fighting for their freedom. Let's see who runs out of money first. It's definitely gonna be Mali, obviously, and the Congo are probably next. But how much do the Brazilians have? Oh boy. And that is definitely not gonna be enough because so many people gave them money. That was a good idea to have so many puppets. They eliminated everyone like that. Like I said, if you want your very own British Empire or 13 colonies, head over to Makeshift. I'm watching this sales war very closely because these are among, obviously, the 2 most popular plushies I've ever had. Big ol' thanks to my patrons. Drew's Argentinian grandpa. Lucas, the Canadian goose from Avaca.
Drew har förvisats från Sverige för brottet att vara dans.
Amateur archaeologist. Carmel S. Connor Beautiful. Megan. Drew, I'm your dad. Back with the milk. Look out, Wizards. King. Sevi, if you hear this, Tamron.